take a dragon boat out.
Yeah. Pass the word! Gun drill! A hands-on demonstration using the ship's guns is starting now on the gun deck all the way out.
Is that downstairs?
Yeah, the deck below.
Go down.
Pass the word! Gun drill! A hands-on demonstration using one of the ship's frigate guns is starting now right over there.
Isn't that the same registration as the cannon and the rose?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
They separate this whole thing and they bring it down below.
On the ship we call them guns, but they're basically cannons. This is a 22-gun sloop-of-war. 16 of those 22 guns are these, are 8-inch chambered shell guns. Now, the ones you see on this deck are all plastic or fiberglass replicas. So they don't really weigh the 6,000 pounds that they would, which is a big reason why the ship is so hot in the water right now. They're not real guns. First, though, I'll talk about the most primitive gun on the ship, which you would see all the way forward on the port side. You can see it from here. It's the one that doesn't look like the others. That is our 32-pounder long gun. That's the most primitive gun on the ship. It shoots a solid metal ball that weighs, any guesses?
35 pounds?
32 pounds, yeah. 32-pound long gun shoots a 32-pound ball. What kind of hole in the enemy's ship does a 32-pound ball make?
A big one?
Very good guess. Not really. Small metal ball makes a small round hole. It's not hugely destructive. And every ship's going to have a carpenter on board who can patch that up really quickly. The range for that one, it can shoot about 1.25 miles using about 9 pounds of black powder. The accuracy isn't fantastic. It is a smooth bore gun, which means that the inside of the gun is just smooth cylinder. So even though we try to get that ball to fit just perfectly in there, it is going to bounce a little on the way down, and that bouncing means that you're not quite as accurate as you could be. One way to make up for that is to take advantage of something we call ricochet firing. So instead of trying to hit the enemy's ship directly, we aim near the water line so that that ball can just bounce across the water like you're skipping a stone. And that way, if you hit the enemy's ship, you're hitting it near the water line where it's going to do more damage. That gun is pretty similar to these. You'll see it looks about the same. These are our 8-inch chambered shell guns. And these we had 16 of on the Constellation. They are a very powerful gun and a big increase in the technology, as you'll see. So the main difference between this gun and that one over there is that these shoot exploding shells. When we talk about solid metal shot, we usually talk about it in terms of the pounds, which is why that's a 32-pound long gun. This one, we say 8-inch because it shoots exploding shells. The 8-inch shell is about 51.5 pounds and has 2 pounds of black powder inside of it. It's still a ball, so it can take advantage of that same ricochet firing where you're bouncing along the water line. Hopefully it'll lodge itself in the hull of the enemy's ship, and then it explodes. When it explodes, you could blow a hole from one gun port all the way to the next gun port. And if you take a look at the ship, the hull of the ship is about 14 inches thick. So you've got splinters flying everywhere. It's hugely destructive. These guns are so destructive, they basically make wooden ships obsolete. Within about 10 years of these being widespread, you started to see we were only building ironclads because a wooden ship just can't stand up to this. So this is the gun that we'll be using today. This gun and that gun Similar sizes, similar gun crews. You're looking at about 16 men plus a powder monkey for each gun. A powder monkey would be one of the youngest members of the U.S. Navy. How old are you?
12.
Okay, you are just old enough to be a powder monkey. You could enlist in the Navy during the Civil War as young as 12. I think legally you had to be 14, but we didn't pay close attention. Your parents would benefit from that. They would get $6 a month, which was your salary, and they wouldn't have to pay to feed and clothe you. Plus, you'd be learning great skills on the ship, so that when you were old enough to be a sailor, you'd already know all the ropes. So at this point, we've got a lot of you. Who would like to participate in our gun drill? We'll need at least, well, more than 2, so don't be shy. All right, I think we've probably got enough. Don't be shy. First, I'll need an adult volunteer. I have our first adult over the age of 18. Grown, okay, yes. You are going to be our loader. You will stand right here. So when we load the gun, you're going to put our imaginary powder charge in there and our imaginary exploding shell. You're also going to help the rammer. So we need another adult to be the sponger. There's so many people here. All right, come on. Don't be shy. So you're going to stand right here. You're going to have an assistant, another adult. You're all just like getting free information. You're not an adult. So an adult, any adult. Someone over the age of 18. You know you want it. Okay, you can just stand right here. That's fine. All right, so you'll stand here. You're going to help him out just to get these down. All right. Now, the bulk of this, we're going to need a lot of volunteers to man each one of these lines. The ones on the side are called side tables. Their job is to push the gun out. But because all of the guns on this ship are muzzle loading, before we can do anything, we're going to have to pull the gun in. So we'll need someone back here on this train table, which pulls the gun into the ship. So I'm going to need an abundance of volunteers. All right, so we've got a couple of you. You can come over here. Be on this side table here. So you're going to stand. We won't pick it up yet. So you can drop it back down on the deck. I want you all standing on the same side, facing the gun. So you're going to stand over on this side. Take a step back. Awesome. Okay, 4 is probably enough. Right here. You can be the first one. Yeah, we'll put you over here on the side table. All right, and you have been voluntold. So please stand here, facing the gun. Feet on this side. So you'll just take a step over here, just like me. Okay. You need your muscles. Okay. All right. We will also need any other volunteers who want to get on this one. Otherwise, we might have to make you multitask. All right. Come on. Okay, so you can stand right here. But no, this doesn't weigh 6,000 pounds. It's pretty heavy, so we should probably use some more volunteers. Can you help her out? Yes. Okay. So you can stand up here next to her. All right. This is called a gun bill, this paper I'm holding in my hand. This gives step-by-step instructions on how to safely clean and load and fire the gun. If anything is to happen to me in battle, if you have this, you know what to do. There are 2 more roles that need to be fulfilled. I'm going to need a powder monkey, which is traditionally, you want to be powder monkey? Yeah. Okay. So you as powder monkey, we'll just have you wait over here for now. And I'll let you all know when your role comes up. I will also need a #1 gun captain to help me out. Somebody. Then we'll have nobody over there. Okay, you can be the #1 gun captain. But then we need a couple more volunteers for this. Okay. Adult muscles. Okay. Cool beans. So this gives us all the steps. So if something was to happen to me, you would be next in line. The first command I give when we are working with our guns and doing a gun drill is silence. Man the starboard #9 gun. That means the only person allowed to talk during the gun drill is me, the gun captain #2. Our second command, cast loose and provide. That means that these lines here are cast loose on the deck, and these implements have been lowered down, provided, if you will. Can we not put our feet on the rope? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. It's really tempting. Everybody wants to put their feet on the rope. Our next command is to run in. That means we're bringing the gun into the ship so that we can clean and load and fire it. Running in is where you, train takeomen, will be very important. But the side takeomen should listen too. When you're hauling a rope on a ship, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, it's super important not to step on the rope. That's for a couple reasons. During this activity, these ropes are going to move, and I don't want you to be stepping on them and then you fall over. Also, when you step on them, it grinds splinters into the rope, and then you have to touch them, and it's just bad. So, try not to step on the rope. You're also not going to move your feet, which is harder than it sounds. So when you're hauling a rope on a ship, you're going to keep your feet planted and just move with your upper body. The first command I give when we're hauling a line is action. Action means lean forward and grab some rope. Then I'll say haul, which means stand up with the rope. Action, haul, action, haul. Does that make sense? Okay, so we'll start with just the train takeomen. So you can go ahead and pick up that rope. Now at this point, you guys have the additional job of making sure that this doesn't get run over by the wheels. Just, if that happens, just say stop. And we'll get out of the way. That's good. All right, are you ready, train takeomen? I'll take that as a yes. Okay, action. Haul. Yeah. Action. Haul. Action. Haul. Action. Haul. Action. Haul. Almost there. Action. Haul. Action. Haul. One more. Action. Haul. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Now that the gun is run in, our next step is serve, vent, and sponge. This is where we have our number one gun crew guy, gun captain is your name. At this point, we're going to make sure that this hole here, which is where the primer would be, is clear. So we use an imaginary wire here to poke that. Then you're going to wear something called a thumb stall, which is like a glove just for your thumb, and stick your thumb right there. It seems really dangerous, but we're not going to do it again. So just put your thumb there. The reason he puts his thumb there is that now we're going to clean the gun using the sponge here. So you can lower that down. That's the one that looks like a Q-tip. So the other one, sorry, other tool.
You want this side? Oh, that's the ram.
Yeah, don't get hit.
So the sponge will be dipped in water and then pushed into the back of the gun to clean it. The main reason we do this is because if we're firing this gun over and over again like we would in a gun drill, so you can just put it in, you might have to lean it out the window, just try not to drop it. You might end up with some embers burning in the back of the gun. It's not a really good idea to put a new cloth bag full of gunpowder in the back of a gun when there's burning embers. So this is to extinguish those. His thumb is helping to create a vacuum seal so that when you pull it out, it's going to extinguish any sparks that might be back there. So you can hang that back up. Our next step is to load our cartridge. So this is where the powder monkey would go over to where that ladder is and just pick up our imaginary powder cartridge. It's about 9 pounds. So just head over to the stairs. Yeah, you could be a little faster than that.
Yeah, they're shooting at us. Hurry.
Yeah.
We got to shoot back.
Now it's like a bowling ball. So you'll come and bring it to him.
Hey, it's heavy. Step back a little bit.
So you're going to hand it to this guy. And then you hand it to her. Okay, and you hand it down the line. And then it goes here to our loader. So you give it to her. She's going to put it into the gun. And now we're going to take down the other one, the rammer, and push it back into the back of the gun. So it's a little lighter weight. Once it's loaded, then you can take it off.
Has anybody ever dropped one of those in the water out there?
Not during this activity, no. No pressure. All right. Next, we need to load our shell.
Don't be the first.
You go get our 52-pound shell from over by the stairs. The powder monkey's just running back and forth, bringing things over to the gun crew. sometimes the powder doesn't weigh much more than 52 pounds.
Good job, dude.
All right. Brilliant. And then we're going to push that back with the same tool, so you can take it back down again.
Okay.
How long did this take?
Volunteers. A good gun crew could do this whole thing in about 3 minutes. We are not yet a good gun crew. Now that it's loaded. So once it's loaded, he can let go. There's not a risk of air being brought in there to cause a spark. So now that we're loaded, are we ready to fire it?
Yeah.
No.
If we fire it now, we risk blowing a hole in the side of our own ship. So that's bad. So this is where our side takemen come into play. So please pick up the rope on this side and over here on this side. So just like our train takemen did before, we're going to do action, grab the rope, haul, bring it in. Try to make sure it doesn't roll over the rope. And make sure you're not standing on it so it's going to move. All right, side takemen, action. Haul. Action. Haul. Action. Haul. Okay, stop. We're just going to have this side go because we're getting a little crooked. So you guys can just wait. Just this side. Action. Haul. Nice. Okay, now both sides. Action. Haul. All right, that's good. You can drop the line. So we've run out. Now we're going to prime it. Our primer is a goose quill, a piece of a goose feather, filled with gunpowder. At the top of that, it's kind of shaped like a nail. The nail head has a chemical called fulminate of mercury, which is very volatile and will ignite that gunpowder in the goose quill, which will then ignite this when we hit it with a hammer. So can you put on our pretend primer there? Just smack it on. Nice. Next, we aim. Aiming is done with the aid of these guys, which are called hand spikes. So stick that in here. Use a lot of muscle to move it back and forth. Looks pretty well aimed right now. Our next step is to elevate. This tool is called a coin. It's kind of shaped like a wedge. And by pulling that out or pushing it in, you're going to adjust the elevation. Once we've aimed and elevated, our next step is ready. Now when I say ready, our sailors are definitely going to cover their ears. 9 pounds of powder makes a big boom. You're going to want to cover your ears with the palms of your hands. Using your fingers is bad because that percussion can drive your fingers inward. Our sailors would also open their mouths. That's to reduce any damage you might do from gritting your teeth. You also get up on the balls of your feet. There's a lot to remember. That's because this gun would come blasting across the deck. You really want to be able to jump out of the way. That's why this rope is so big. This is to keep it from going all the way across. So you'll look something like this, which is kind of silly but fun. It's important for us to step back like this. So when we say ready, you'll get into your ready position and then fire. You'll pull that. This isn't real, it's made of plastic. So when we say fire, I want y'all to help out by saying boom as loud as you can, okay? All right, so I'll let you do the ready and fire. Ready? Ready! Boom! Nice. All right, and that is how you load and fire a gun on this ship. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the day. Jump on the rope, guys.
Oh, wow.
What are these?